Enter Red Room. It's Tony. So I am here on my days off. Essentially Monday through Wednesday, I'm pretty much off for my massage job. I woke up like really late today. Like I woke up like earlier than I went back to sleep. My head is still hurting. So I don't know what that's about. It's probably like a lack of sunlight. And that's basically what this video is about. So fighting seasonal affective disorder, man, it's like a struggle because I've noticed it within my like eyesight, like because I don't really like this overhead light when I am in this room. I tend to have it off, but then I have this like screen here, and then, you know, like if I get up late, then I'm not getting enough sunlight, and so I'm like struggling with all of that, and it's bringing my mood down. And during the winter time, particularly because I live in the northern hemisphere, you know, it gets cold and then it's dark, and then you're kind of like, I think, struggling to maintain some like mental health thing. But that's like across the board in like many places where it starts to get dark earlier, and you really have to kind of like foster community in some sense, right? Like going out, interacting with people, talking to people, stuff like that, doing things. So that's kind of where I am. So I do have a plan for battling this because, I mean, it's almost February, and then if it's almost February, it's almost March. And yeah, like by that time it'll start getting like light. It'll stay light for longer, you know what I'm saying? And then we got summer, and then, you know, it's light forever until it's fall again, right? So it's like this cyclical. But my plan for seasonal affective disorder this year, I really want to like do things. I have a bunch of stuff over there for this channel that I need to record. You guys may have seen the like me putting all the stuff in categories so I could do like the MDs video, getting up earlier, getting into sunlight, doing little projects to feel productive, because I feel like people are like, well, it's time to rest, and it's just like, well, you know, resting for 12 hours a day isn't really helpful either, especially if you are well rested. Like resting all the time, like not being productive, like you still have to do things. I think people, they have these like weird notions that like wintertime is when everything is dead, and it's just like, that isn't true. Not everything is dead, and as a human being, because you're not hibernating, you have to eat, you have to go out, you have to interact. Even if you didn't live in this modern time, like you still had to do things, right? Like there's things to be done regardless. And so doing these things to kind of get through the day, and then like kind of resting appropriately when it gets darker, yes, maybe rest, but adjusting my time up is basically where I'm going with that. So seasonal affective disorder is just something I feel like I have decided that I can like acknowledge and talk about, and I don't feel like I'm really ashamed to say that during the winter time I get a little gloomy, because a whole bunch of people do. And in the northern hemisphere, especially when you don't have sunlight as much anymore, like the people's mood, like it's affected. And I feel like there's like this big shame of living in places like this. Like it's projected onto like the people who, like, whether or not, that's a different story for a different day. But yeah, I think people project onto Northern Hemisphere people, particularly those that live in like snowy regions, is living very miserable lives. And it's just like, no, it's just like this season is this season, and then we have 9 other months of other seasons, you know. But this season is a very pivotal one because I think you're forced to deal with like grief, loss. You're forced to contemplate mortality, time. And that's something I feel like people in places where it's always sunny they don't have the space to contemplate that in the way that we do. And it makes you a stronger individual to be able to to be able to process all this stuff and have the space to do it, and to really have to fight through like this sort of environment with the mental, right? Because it's not really about just the physical, it's the mental also. And so you become like a stronger individual with it, and I think you become more aware and appreciative of time and your physicality, because I feel like it really gets challenged, right? It gets challenged to be this in this physical world and environment that is, you know, hard winds, cold, lack of sunlight. Like I feel like you have to adapt and develop and become like, you really have to kind of like die and regenerate yourself in a very obvious kind of way, and even like subtle kind of ways of how you have to now navigate the world. Versus if you live somewhere that's always sunny, I don't know if you can appreciate life cycles in the same way, because it just seems like it's a taken for granted type thing. So dealing with this, I do want to just do a lot more like small mini projects to kind of get the energy like moving a little bit so it's not so stagnant. I do want to make just clean up the space, move, have little projects, think about things, and then act on them. Because I mean, I have the time to do it. And so battling seasonal affective disorder is one of those things where you kind of have to be proactive and move energy in some way. Like you have to move it in some way. So that's what we're gonna do. So that is my seasonal affective disorder winter ramble. I didn't want this to be too long, so yeah. Thanks for watching. I'll talk to you guys later because I literally have a video that I want to do, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.